In a world of overconsumerism versus the cost of living crisis and people struggling to try to make ends meet, is minimalism dead or is it exactly what we need? Hi everyone, welcome to a new style of video. What I'm hoping to do here is something a little bit different, where we can sit down and have a conversation about a topic within our niche. Throughout the video I'm going to post some questions on the screen, and if you want to get involved you are more than welcome to answer them in the comments and have your input. And hopefully what we can create is even more of a sense of community, have a back and forth discussion and create something informative. You may have noticed I'm not at home. And that's because I decided I wanted to challenge myself to get out of my comfort zone a little bit and film outside, which I can't actually believe in over 4 years of having my channel I've never actually done. Every single sit down video sat in front of my camera is filmed in my house, and so I thought it's time to challenge myself and get out and about a little bit more, and it gives the video a little bit of variety, and if I can film more of these videos in the future in different locations it will just help to mix it up a bit and I think help me with my confidence working with a camera outdoors. So as I mentioned at the start, today's topic for discussion is in a world of overconsumerism versus struggling to make ends meet due to the cost of living crisis, is minimalism dead or is it exactly what we need? And straight off the bat I want to pose that as question number one, so feel free to post your initial thoughts about this statement alone before we've even opened the discussion. What do you think about that yourself? Minimalism refers to the idea of making life simple, and I've actually got a little list of things on my phone that I want to read so I make sure I get them right rather than try to memorize them. And I've written, this can come down to many aspects of living, whether it's reducing the number of possessions or clutter that expend our energy, spending less money in order to have financial stability, reducing stress, finding a work-life balance, having a small circle of dependable friends to avoid drama and conflict, and reducing reliance on devices and technology, and so on. But I think what most people think of when they think of minimalism, I would probably say particularly people outside of living a more minimalistic or simplistic life, is the consumerism side of things and the idea of reducing the number of possessions that we have. Question number two is, what does minimalism mean for you in your life? And whilst you think of your answer and type it down below, I'll tell you mine. For me, it was initially about creating peace in my space, eliminating visual clutter and making my environment calm. Through the process of decluttering, I also then reduced the amount of things I wanted to buy, otherwise it seemed like quite a pointless process because the stuff was still accumulating. Not spending so much led me to prioritising savings, and so I found that all of these ideas were interconnected. And as I mentioned in the list before, I really just want a simpler life. I want to minimise stress and drama and just have a really, really peaceful existence. It seems that as far as this is concerned, we live in quite a split world, with social media really glamorizing overconsumption, this idea of having more, owning more, showing it off, and being valued on the amount of possessions we have or the amount of money we can spend. It really feels a lot of the time like we are being defined by the possessions that we own. But then we have the other side of the coin where people and families are struggling to make ends meet. Rents and mortgages are high, taxes are high, pay rises aren't keeping up with inflation, which means your basic essentials like food and fuel feel more expensive, which really got me wondering, where does the average person fall within this? Are there more people that are struggling, or are there more people that are really over-consuming now? Or actually is it a bit of both and we feel like we need more and so it feels like we're struggling to keep up all the time? Sitting down to think about this really got me to reflect on my own journey, starting from being more maximal and spending more money and not really thinking about what I was spending it on, through my own journey towards living a more minimal lifestyle. And I think for me it all started back in 2015 when I got my first proper job, if you like, and I was still living at home with my parents, and whilst I was still contributing because I wasn't living in my own house paying my mortgage and my bills, I did have a lot more expendable income at that time. And like a lot of people my age at that time, I was consuming a lot of content on YouTube, particularly the Brick Crew. Those of you who know, you know. And for me, I was always tuned in to a Zoella video. And on reflection of that period in my life, I cannot believe my naivety, that I didn't know any better, that I didn't realise that I was just constantly being advertised to. I thought it was perfectly normal to go into a high street store, particularly somewhere like Primark, where you're getting low quality goods, and I thought it was perfectly normal to not consider what I was spending money on, to seek the thrill of spending money rather than what I'm actually getting out of it. And if I spent more than £100 when I got to the checkout in a shop like Primark, I was like, that is a good shopping trip, I've done well today. I thought it was normal to go to HomeSense every single season and every single holiday and buy decorative items, and I didn't even have my own house yet. And I also thought it was normal to want to buy every eyeshadow palette release from every popular makeup brand at the time, even though I had no hope of ever getting through that amount of product. It wasn't until years later that I really could see advertising and sponsored posts and branded content for what they are, and that it was creators' ways of making their living. And once I had that realization, I felt like I wasn't susceptible to it anymore. I understood what was happening, but prior to that, I was so naive. I just didn't have a good understanding of it, and I didn't realise that I was being advertised to. And so quite naturally, I became a shopaholic, and as a result ended up wasting a lot of money that I look back on and I am now really regretful about. Question number 3, do you feel like you've ever been influenced into buying something? And if so, please elaborate about your understanding of social media, and when you were being advertised to, did you know about it, and what do you think of it now? At some point in my journey of consuming content on YouTube, I came across different channels, and for me the most inspiring ones were the channels of Sarah Therese and Ashlyn Eaton, which I'm sure many of you watching this video will know exactly who they are. Their channels opened my eyes to a new and simpler way of living that felt so peaceful and so calming, not feeling the pressure of trying to keep up with trends and feeling like you have to have everything all the time, as well as all the other aspects of minimalism that they talked about in this bigger idea of just having a simpler and more peaceful life. And from that moment on, my channel in 2020, Charlotte's Minimalism Journey, was born, as I decided I wanted to pursue a more minimal life for myself. I spent my first few years of that journey decluttering quite literally thousands of items from my home, creating a more neutral and natural aesthetic by eliminating all visual clutter and keeping things very simple. I put myself through various no-buy challenges in order to curb my spending and develop better spending habits. And I tried in other areas as well, just to simplify my life and eliminate stress. Number 4 is not so much a question, but a request for other people exploring minimalism and wanting to find out more. Can you suggest your favourite creators or YouTubers below that are within this niche? So anyone reading the comments can go out and find the information that they need or the inspiration that they need. Even better, if you have any smaller YouTubers or smaller creators that are looking to get their content out there. I've been in that position myself, and it's really helpful when you have people recommend your content and so other people can find you. So if you do know of any smaller creators, please also include those in your list, as well as the bigger creators who are the leaders and experts in this niche. I feel like I've definitely evolved over my journey towards minimalism, and I can reflect now and ask myself, do I feel the same about minimalism as I did back then? The answer is no, but I have definitely taken so much from the journey that I would encourage people to do the same. I think minimalism is something you have to experience. I can't create a video that is, I became a minimalist so you don't have to. It won't work like that. You need to learn about yourself. You need to learn about your priorities. You need to learn about what causes you stress. You need to learn about your spending habits in order to lead a simpler life. But if we come at this from just a spending point of view, you need to learn about your own preferences so you can teach yourself good habits. You need to learn about what you're happy to spend your money on and what you would comfortably be able to reduce or cut out entirely in order to maintain a balance of sensible and thought out spending habits. I've just moved base a little bit. There were people who I assume were trying to enjoy a nice peaceful walk and probably didn't need to hear me yattering on in the background. Also, I'm not that brave. So I'll carry on from where I left off. Also had to put my coat on. It's gotten a little bit chilly. It was a lovely sunny morning. I mean, it is still sunny, there's very blue skies, but the wind has picked up a little bit. So if you can hear that, then apologies. So I was talking about my journey with minimalism, and I would say people definitely evolve through this journey and you work out what parts of it are important to you and what parts are not realistic within your life. At the end of the day, we do still have to make ourselves happy, because I kind of think if we're not doing that, then what's the point? So do I still view minimalism in the same way as I did back then when I was first being inspired by people talking about minimalism and it was this fresh new idea for me? No, I don't feel the same about it, but I definitely think it's a journey worthwhile for people to go on, but it's not a journey someone can do for you. I can't make one of those videos that says I tried minimalism so you don't have to. It doesn't work like that. It's something you definitely have to experience for yourself, and you will learn so much about yourself on that journey. You need to go on the journey for yourself so you can learn about your preferences, you can learn what you can live without and what you can't, you can figure out your spending habits, and you can figure out the area of minimalism that works for you. So in terms of, again, if we're just coming at this from the spending point of view, I found out the things that I can really simplify and it doesn't have a negative impact on my life whatsoever, and I figured out the things that I absolutely can't live without, and I figured out the things that I can kind of maintain a good balance with. For example, one area I've really minimized and hadn't really even considered doing this, and it's such a big expense for everyone. It's up there in sort of your top 5 to 10 high expenses, and that's food, that's grocery. I try to get my grocery bill every week so low and kind of consider it as a challenge for myself to get it under a certain amount every single week, because I've learned not to be wasteful with food, I've learned to meal plan, I've learned to only buy what I need, and at the same time, because I'm focusing on a few health goals, I'm minimizing the amount of treats I allow for myself and unhealthy items in my grocery shop, which significantly reduces the cost anyway. So that's one area that I'm really happy to be minimal in and spend less in, and ordinarily that's such a big expense. So in terms of saving money, that has really been an easy way in for me, an easy place to be minimal. One area that I know that I couldn't stop spending in completely is clothes. I've said already that I'm curating a wardrobe that I really do love now, but I think I will also always be a bit of a material girl, and forbidding myself to shop for clothes forever would make me miserable. That's not something that's going to make me happy. So I do allow myself some spending in clothes, but I know I'm so much better than I used to be. Areas where I'm pretty flexible and will spend what I need to have a good time is trips and traveling, experiences, hobbies and things like that. I'm sensible and I've built good spending habits in myself. I am sensible about it. So I know that I'm not going to book a holiday that is way out of my budget, for example. So I feel like I've got a pretty good handle on things. And that takes us to question number 5. What are your areas that you are happy to spend money on, and what are the areas that you try to keep spending to a minimum? So to circle back around to the original question in the video, is minimalism dead? Absolutely not. I don't believe it is, but I think it takes a lot to be dedicated to the full idea of minimalism, and I think particularly in today's society where there is a lot of pressure to be spending a lot of money and to live this sort of fast-paced life, I think it's very hard to be dedicated to a lifestyle like that. However, I do think it is perfectly possible for us to pick up on areas of a more minimalistic life and figure out the ones that work for us, and I think we can take those things and incorporate those into our lives in order to gain some simplicity that we may otherwise not have had. Could minimalism be the solution for people that are struggling, particularly financially? In a way, yes. I think some people could benefit from going on this journey, particularly from a spending and saving money side of things in order to learn more about themselves and realize what they actually can and can't live without, and to make that more manageable for them. There is so much to be learnt from going on a journey towards minimalism that I think, yes, it really could help people who are struggling in such a challenging economy. But also outside of that, there are so many areas of minimalism that people living modern and busy lives could benefit from, in terms of making things more simplistic for them, more peaceful, less stressful, and so on. The last thing I want to do before I disappear back home and hopefully get warm with a nice hot drink is to share a few things that I've learned from my journey that I would encourage people to consider. The first of which, I will sound like a broken record to anyone who is familiar with my videos, but that is to make saving a priority. I do say it time and time again, but that is to put savings ahead of the free spend. Whatever you do with the rest of your money after your bills are paid, don't leave saving until the end if there's any money left, because sometimes there isn't. So pay your bills first and make savings number two. Have it like an additional expense, whether you're saving or investing, whatever it is. Have it as priority number two, and then after you've committed to that saving or investment, whatever's left after that, make that your free spend. Of course, we should all enjoy our money a little bit, but if you want to have financial security, you should be prioritizing saving in some way. As best you can, try to cut out unhealthy habits. For me, that was in the form of overconsumption of junk food, or making it far too easy for myself to pop and get fast food on the way home or something like that. But if I think about unhealthy habits, things like smoking, drinking, they are actually quite expensive things to do. So cutting out unhealthy habits, whether it is something like that or it is just something like unhealthy eating, not only are you going to be saving yourself money, but your body's going to thank you as a result of it. If that seems like too much of a struggle, at the very least, just have them as an occasional treat. I love a Mackey's as much as the next person, but I have been really trying hard to cut that down and only have it as a rare treat. Having a capsule wardrobe has been a really good one for me, because it will stop you spending thoughtlessly on clothes. It will stop that impulse buy when you see something that you think is nice and you just have to have it without any consideration of how you're going to style it. Does it work with other pieces in your wardrobe? How much wear are you going to get out of it? Is it just going to be one of those things that sits in the wardrobe and actually never gets worn? Having a capsule wardrobe has really helped me to consider the clothing purchases I buy, and for me especially, someone whose worst spending habits was in the clothing area, that has been a game changer. Meal planning is a fantastic way to reduce waste and save money. I don't even need to say anything more on that one. Okay, this next one might sting a little bit, but honestly, it's the sort of thing I've had to say to myself in the past to get my spending in check. Be less entitled. I was the sort of person that used to say, I work hard for my money, so if I want something, I can have it. And in a way, that was true. I believe that we should spend our money in a way that makes us happy. But maybe you consider, I have one or the other, and not I will have everything, especially if everything isn't in your budget. Of course, we've got to make ourselves happy. Of course, we've got to enjoy our money, enjoy our time on the planet, but let's find a little bit of balance. And I've found, honestly, the way around all of this is to find other joys that aren't just about spending money, particularly on stuff, on things that you're going to bring into your space. I found other joys, and now I am just so busy, whether it's with work, the gym, running my side hustles, doing my hobbies, going traveling, or having experiences. And yes, many of those things cost money, but from personal preference, that is money I'm happy to spend. That is money that doesn't feel wasteful, because I'm benefiting from it in a way beyond I'm just getting something to put into my house. I'm getting more stuff. I honestly don't have time to go shopping anymore. I don't have time to go out to the shops and buy clothes and spend a whole day just walking aimlessly around shops without any sort of list or goal in mind of what I want to buy, and just impulse buying things that I see. I don't have time to do that anymore. And once upon a time, that was a hobby for me. That was, let's go out and go shopping. What do you need? No idea. I'm just going to buy what I see when I get there. That used to be a hobby for me. Now I don't have time to do it. So if you can find other ways to spend your time that make you happy, I would highly advise that. Anyway, I've been sat out here in the cold for quite a long time now. I'm really proud that I did it. I notice I have been speaking more quietly than I normally would when I'm practically shouting at my camera at home. So let's wrap this one up. Thank you so much if you have taken the time to answer the questions in the comments below. And of course, if there are any other parts of the video that you wanted to comment on but I didn't pose it as a question, please do that as well. I think it would be really interesting to sort of have these discussions and conversations rather than it always just be me talking. So that would be really great, and I'm looking forward to reading and replying to some of your comments. But also feel free yourselves to have conversations in the comments and read and reply to others. I've got a whole list of topics that I want to talk about. The sky has just gotten really grey. I think it's going to rain. Good timing. I have got a whole list of topics I want to talk about in these videos whenever I get around to doing them. But if there are any topic areas that you think would be good, feel free to pop those down in the comments as well, and I will read through them and see what I can plan in, and hopefully we can have some really good discussions. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, remember to give it a thumbs up. If you're not already subscribed to my channel, and especially if you would like to be involved in more videos like this, then you can subscribe by clicking this picture. And if you're sticking around for another video, I will pop one right here that I think you might enjoy. Until next time, take care. Bye.